Let me press it 10 times.
I'll say.
No, actually, don't press it.
The traitor in your ranks will be even more surprising than Eret, and you won't see it coming, and it may ruin your whole plan. So, just be wary.
The people on the server are Dream, GeorgeNotFound, Sapnap, Callahan, Awesamdude, ItsAlyssa, Ponk, BadBoyHalo, TommyInnit, Tubbo, ItsFundy, Punz, Purpled, WilburSoot, Jschlatt, Skeppy, The Eret, Thunder1408, Nihachu, Quackity, KarlJacobs, HBomb94, and Technoblade and Antfrost. Before we start, I want to say that I watch some of these people exclusively and don't branch out much. Those people are Dream, sometimes George and Sapnap, Quackity, Tommy, Tubbo, Wilbur, and Techno. For suspects, I automatically want to rule out people who haven't participated in the wars directly, / anyone who wasn't at the festival. This means I'm ruling out ItsAlyssa and Skeppy. But before we eliminate anyone else, we're going to rule out anyone who is on Jschlatt's side or who we can assume will be teaming with Dream and or Jschlatt. This would obviously mean that Dream and Jschlatt are out. I assume Sapnap and George would team with Dream, or George may just be sleeping, I'm not sure. And I think KarlJacobs will definitely team with Dream, because he's a simp. Exhibit A, the creator games. So, who's left now? Callahan, Awesamdude, Ponk, BadBoyHalo, TommyInnit, Tubbo, ItsFundy, Punz, Purpled, WilburSoot, The Eret, Thunder1408, Nihachu, Quackity, HBomb, Technoblade, and Ant. I want to eliminate those who I don't think have done much plot-wise in this war. This would include Callahan, Awesamdude, Ponk, Punz, Purpled, Thunder1408, HBomb, and Antfrost. Sam, Ponk, Punz, Purpled, HBomb, and Ant have been actively playing on the server, at least that I've seen, but they don't seem like they've picked a side. Say this, if you were to list the main characters in this book/movie that is the SMP war, who would you say? To me, these people are more support characters than main characters. Also, think about it. Dream said, and I quote, "The traitor in your ranks will be even more surprising than Eret. You won't see it coming, and it may even ruin your whole plan, so just be weary." Think about it. They won't see it coming. Sure, Sam or Ponk may be surprising, but how much will it really affect the story? They've mostly just been supply gatherers. Now, this isn't hating on anyone here, I'm just saying they're kind of irrelevant. You've got to remember that this isn't just people fooling around. This is content. We know Wilbur isn't a psychotic maniac on the daily basis. He does it because it brings people in. It worked for me. The whole reason I really began to watch Tommy was because of the SMP war. This is content, and they're going to set up situations where there's the best content. And in my opinion, any of these people I listed as traitors don't serve very good content makers in the story. Again, no hate. So who's left? BadBoyHalo, TommyInnit, Tubbo, Fundy, Wilbur, Eret, Niki, Quackity, and Techno. I'm mostly going to be going off content again, specifically satisfying character arcs. So let's talk Fundy. He could be the traitor, as he kinda already betrayed L'Manberg, joining Jschlatt's side, etc., but during the meeting on the 6th of November, he gave Wilbur the book and joined Poktopia. Would it be satisfying if the story worked like that? He joins the other side, but then he's suddenly not? It doesn't feel like Fundy's character had enough time to develop in Poktopia. Besides, Dream said they wouldn't see it coming. If Fundy is the traitor, you would say, oh, we should have seen that coming. Should've means would've, as in they could've seen it coming. That's not content, so I rule out Fundy. This goes for Eret too, having "it was never meant to be, boys." Again, that wouldn't be good content. He's not even back in Poktopia yet. Heck, he just built the original van in a giant museum in a stream called Building My Redemption. It wouldn't be very satisfying. I really don't know what Bad would bring to the table either. No offense to him, would be a valuable spy to Dream. He's easy to talk to and share information with. It would be heartbreaking if Bad was a traitor, but I think Dream was going for shock and betrayal as the main feelings when the imposter is revealed, not heartbreak. Now, this is super easy to put on Techno. He did it once, so he can do it again. But back to what I said about Fundy, it would be expected. Whoops, sorry, killed you again. Sure, Techno would have the motivation to betray Ponktopia if it meant he'd have some anarchy, but plot-wise, that means Ponktopia is doomed. Dream and Technoblade? Yeah, dead. It would be better if Ponktopia didn't immediately go down and blow up. It would be more suspenseful if Ponktopia had at least a chance. The same goes for Wilbur. If he's the traitor, they'd all say, we should have seen that coming. He already wants to blow L'Manberg up, and think about it. After all Jschlatt's done, I doubt Wilbur would take anything from him. About the only thing that would convince Will to turn to the other side would be giving back L'Manberg, but I doubt Jschlatt would do that. Also, it could mean that Wilbur and Dream and Jschlatt would be working together, and I don't think that would work. They all have different goals, and they all want different kingdoms. Their motivations sound just way too incompatible for them to work together. So now we're down to the final four: TommyInnit, Tubbo, Niki, and Quackity. Now, I'm going to be eliminating more by motivation and what they bring to the table for Jschlatt and thus Dream. Let's talk Quackity. He was on Jschlatt's side at one point, but his reasons for leaving seems genuine. Jschlatt destroyed what he built, and now the relationship has just died. And then, what would be gained by being on Jschlatt's side? We've already figured out that Big Q hates him. Why go back? What could Dream or Jschlatt offer Quackity to want him to join their side? I guess Quackity could take physical things like netherite, but almost everyone on the server has gotten at least a full netherite set before. Jschlatt could offer power in the presidency again, but I don't think Quackity would want to serve as vice for another time. He'd want the presidency. But like I said earlier, I don't think Jschlatt's going to give that up. I don't think Quackity is the one. Tubbo. He's definitely a man on the inside, but he's already played the spy before. Plus, he's not the type to take money or power over his friends. What could Jschlatt and Dream possibly offer him to get him to their side? Heck, Jschlatt ordered Tubbo's execution. I don't see why Tubbo would want to be on the other side. It doesn't make sense to me. So that leaves two: TommyInnit and Niki. To be honest, before Tubbo's stream on the 11th of November, I never even considered Niki a suspect, but now that I think about it, it's likely. Now, you probably have already figured out who I think the traitor is, but I'll save my reasoning for that for later. For now, let's talk Niki. She's definitely in the inner group of Ponktopia, the people that are most involved and where plans are shared. The people I consider in this inner group are Wilbur, Quack, Tommy, Tubbo, and Niki, hence why they were the last few left. In order for the traitor to be a big surprise, as Dream claims, I suspect they need to have info on the inner workings of Ponktopia, so they'd have to be part of the inner circle. Niki, I believe, is in the inner part of the inner circle. She's like Bad, being innocent and sweet, at least that's how I see her. But unlike Bad, when Jschlatt ordered everyone to kill Tommy at the festival, Niki was on the run and Bad was trying to kill the group. Niki was probably told a great deal of information, and she could very well be the traitor. But the thing is, why would she join Jschlatt and Dream? What could they offer her? Like I said before, I don't think she'd take material goods. She's never been that kind of person, even when out of the roleplay, for lack of a better term. She was outraged at Jschlatt when he murdered Tubbo, being the only one to truly stand up for him in the crowd, aka not Wilbur, Techno, or Tommy. I just don't know what Dream and Jschlatt could offer her. This is why I think he is the imposter. So who's he? None other than Mr. TommyInnit himself. Think about it. Tommy is in the inner workings of Ponktopia. He knows things, and he could bring valuable information to Dream and Jschlatt. He's one of the founders, after all. This also makes the surprise factor very high. In Tubbo's stream on the 11th, there was a great deal of people who speculated it was Fundy, Techno, and Niki. Tommy was also involved, but when Tommy won the poll for who's the traitor, Tubbo immediately turned down the idea. Not because Tubbo is the traitor, but because he won't believe it. It would cause not only turmoil in the audience, but in Ponktopia as well. Imagine Tommy turning to Wilbur and Tubbo on the 16th and gently whispering, "I'm sorry," as he walked to Dream and Jschlatt. It would be absolutely chilling. Imagine the animatics, the art, the story. It would work so well, in my opinion. But that's not all. I actually have evidence for this one. To begin, on the day of the meeting, November 6th, Tubbo set up traps as pranks. He also trapped Tommy's house. At the beginning of Tommy's stream that day, stopping Wilbur to Night Dream SMP, Tommy says,
I'm pissed off, man. I am in a terrible mood tonight. I'm gonna act so much more irrational. I'm gonna act irrational tonight.
But then later in the same stream, Quackity asks,
Tommy, I have a question for you. And it might come as a shock, but I need to know this for sure before we start working on all of this.
Yes.
How do I know you're not the traitor Dream
Because-
is talking about?
Okay. Well, have you noticed how this whole Manberg and Manberg thing, the disc war, like this whole war has been kind of about. Like, I'm definitely not the traitor.
Do you believe him, Sam? Is Sam even here?
I'm here. I don't think Tommy's the traitor. Isn't Tommy the one we're all rallying behind?
I still basically have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
How could he be the traitor?
I wouldn't betray
behind him?
Tubbo, and being the traitor would mean I would have to betray Tubbo, and I wouldn't betray Wilbur.
Well,
All right.
Wilbur's a little
I
sketch
think
these days.
Tommy replies cool as a cucumber. That A doesn't sound like Tommy at all, and B does not sound like a Tommy who's being more irrational than normal. Then, a little later, Tommy says that he'd have to betray Tubbo and Wilbur, and he'd never do that. Which is believable, but Tommy is always so enthusiastic about his friends. His act was believable, but it just seemed way too calm. It didn't seem like something Tommy would do, especially when he was acting more irrational than usual. Heck, he just figured out that Dream was on the other side and someone was going to betray him. Tommy just seems, in this clip, way too calm in general. Secondly, on Tubbo's stream on the 10th of November with Sam, called Minecraft Day Dream SMP, Sam slips something that I don't think Tubbo heard because he was laughing. Listen to this.
Okay, here. Take some of the TNT.
Oh,
Here.
God.
Take a little more. Take a little more.
I think we've probably got more TNT here than Wilbur and Dream combined.
Yeah, no, I had a lot more. I've been.
Why don't
giving
we
it to
blow up a
Tommy.
nation?
No, I had a lot more. I've been.
Why don't
giving
we
it to
blow up a
Tommy.
nation?
Now think about it. Why would Tommy need TNT? Tommy doesn't want anything to blow up. But you know who does? Wilbur and Jschlatt. The thing is, Wilbur wants to blow up L'Manberg, but Jschlatt wants to blow up Pogtopia. If being on Jschlatt's side means stopping the destruction of L'Manberg, would Tommy do it, even if it meant betraying his friends? He has sacrificed so much to secure L'Manberg, he wants it back desperately, and he definitely doesn't want it destroyed. I think Tommy would take the chance, but not only on those conditions. Dream has his discs. He could get them back and L'Manberg. Not only that, Dream could be working as a double agent, finally defeat Pogtopia, betray Jschlatt once the contract is up, and give L'Manberg to Tommy. Then Tommy gets not only L'Manberg's safety, the discs, but also the presidency. Then Dream can ultimately control Tommy. So then, Dream could essentially have the SMP back to himself again. Bouncing off motives, everyone on the server has been repairing their armor, grinding XP, getting more netherite and diamonds. They've been prepping. But Tommy? He's been making a bridge. He made a rail from Pogtopia to Manberg. Now what possible explanation would there be for Tommy to make a rail system back to Pogtopia? I assume the fighting will be taking place in L'Manberg since A, it's a set date where they're going to battle, and that usually means that everyone will meet on the battlefield at a certain time, and B, because Pogtopia is a ravine and there's not much room to move around. Tommy and the crew would be at L'Manberg, so why have a system getting between the two really fast? It doesn't serve much as a retreat because if one person gets held up, the rest bump backwards. They don't have any shields or protection up there. They're much better off trying to lose them in the forest or one of their underground tunnels. But if Tommy's the traitor, he could use it to retreat back to Pogtopia and be there to blow it up or do something. Sabotage, burn all the supplies. He would not have lost any hunger and he'd be right at home in Pogtopia. I'm sure he'd rather sacrifice it than L'Manberg and would help Dream and Jschlatt because then when the Pogtopians respawn, they won't have any supplies. Last piece of evidence. On the day of the meeting, this happens.
So let's figure out who the mole is.
No, Tubbo, that's
if you
not
will.
No, well, the whole point is we have 10 days.
I agree with Tubbo. Finding the rat is the best plan of action, but that could be done while mining and gathering supplies. XP grinding, for example. That's time that could be put towards interrogation. But Tommy's against all investigation. So why would that be? Because investigation would lead to a greater chance of him being figured out, and that would mean that L'Manberg's safety, the presidency, and his discs would all slip through his hands once more. Now I know what some of you are saying. No, what if it's a farce? What if Dream's just saying that to get the crew riled up? Or what if at the time of the meeting, Dream hadn't asked anyone to join his side yet? I'm going to address both of these. About Dream not asking yet, that would mean that Dream would be 110% confident that the traitor would agree to his terms and conditions, which means they had to be hella good. And as I know, no one's motivations are as solid as Tommy's, so even if Tommy didn't know during the stream, Dream's deal would still be very enticing. But I don't think this is the case. I think they'd planned this out before for the reasons mentioned before. About the farce, I don't think that's it either. There's a lot of hype about it, and the whole server is talking about it, even Dream and the crew. I have to think that Dream would have told them about it, at least Sapnap and George. Plus, think of that ending. They show up to the battlefield and Dream is like, ha, get pranked. If they show up by then nothing would change. No one seems really uneasy at this point, so if there was no traitor, then they just continue on as normal. I don't foresee anything interesting happening if there's no traitor. Because of this, I think the traitor is TommyInnit. He's in the main crew with information, his betrayal would be gut-wrenching, and he has the strongest motives. So anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for sticking around, and man, that was a lot. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. This is all speculation, and no, I did not search through everyone's streams and videos. That would be ridiculous. It's like 18 hours of footage, which I'd probably only take a few clips from. It's just way too much. Anyway, see you on the 16th when I embarrass myself.